Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your breakfast bankroll for Thursday, July 7th, 2022. As we get one step closer to the weekend, the first full week of July has come and basically gone. The 4th is past. We got a couple weeks, actually about 10 days till the All-Star break as we get closer to college and NFL football. We'll be doing a lot of talks about that. Hats off to the ECSI VIPs. Angels team total over 4.5 plus 130 or 135 at DraftKings. I retweeted out yesterday. You could have got it at 3.5 minus 130 or 125. So hats off for a nice little roll up, 3 units to start the week. We hope to keep building on that. But today we are blessed and honored to have a good friend on with us. You know him as B2B at Beating the Bookie. He is just a man that hits all the sports, full court press. He basically Scottish Open this week is already first round in. We'll touch upon that. But big fan of the U, who we were just talking behind the scenes, really putting together a dream team of coaches and putting the U not back on the map, but where they were back in the day. We were talking about the glory days, and Rob has some great stories. So let's bring him on without further ado. The one, the only B2B himself, Mr. Rob at Beating the Book.
What's up, Jeff? Your intro is always way too nice. Way too nice.
Hey, well, I forgot to tell you, I'm leaving Logan and Boston Airport on Saturday morning at 6:45. I'll be touching down at 9:45 Vegas time. Going to spend a week out in Vegas, catch up with our buddy, the mayor, Dave Sharapan. Going to get some friends and colleagues in the World Series of Poker, which the main event has just started. So we're going to have some fun. So maybe I'll give you a couple calls and maybe you'll point me in the right direction.
Vegas is always fun this time of year. You know, you don't have much sports going on pretty much. It's just baseball, some golf. And it's like stepping into an oven when you go outside. So it's my least favorite time of the year to go. It just gets so hot, so dry, so hot there that it's probably my least favorite time to go. But Vegas is Vegas, so you can never complain about going there. It's probably the best place on the earth. So never a bad time when you're in Vegas.
I used to make it a yearly trip in July. I've taken the family out there. You know, there's a lot of stuff to do other than walking the strip and the casinos. We talked a little about the NBA Summer League. We spent the day there. But as you said, the average temperature is about $110, and around 8:30, 9 o'clock when the sun goes down, it cools down to a nice 101 or 102. But it's that dry heat, Rob. It's the dry heat.
Yeah, it's not nearly as bad as South Florida, where it's been probably about 93 degrees here like the last couple of weeks, but with humidity 100%, it feels like 105. I've played golf a few times the last week, and every time I finish the round, it's like you're just dying for a few hours, on your sofa. You're just totally wiped out. Whereas that dry heat in Vegas is not too bad. You don't really sweat that much, so it's doable. But it's still hot. Hot is hot. But the only thing that matters in Vegas is the casinos have air conditioning. So that's really all you need.
68 degrees. You can't beat it, brother.
Just like my house.
So the first round, as we speak, is going on in the Scottish Open the week before the British Open, or the Open, as we like to call it. I'm on DraftKings right now. Cameron Tringali comes out guns a-blazing. Obviously, the current favorite at plus 450. Woodland plus 1,100. Rahm at 1,200. Morikawa at 1,400. Yada. Going into before tee-off early this morning, what was your thoughts going in, maybe for first-round leaders, and just the overview, the week before a major?
I thought a lot of guys would be using this to get ready for a major, but for next week. But I think guys obviously want to play well here, so they can give themselves some momentum for next week. It was supposed to be really windy, like they were expecting 40-mile-per-hour winds here this week. I'm not really sure we got that, but I didn't expect Cameron Tringali to be on a 59 watch. I mean, he was on pace for a 59. He was 9 under through, I think, 15 with a par 5 coming up on 16. Bogey free. He had 6 straight birdies. That's one thing where I can tell you probably tomorrow Cameron Tringali is going to shoot over par. I don't, that's just how he plays. He did the same thing a couple years ago at the PGA Championship in Kiowa Island. He came out hot and just blew up. I think he shot like an 80 in the second round there. I think he might have missed the cut. Can he play back-to-back rounds under par, severely under par? I'm not really sure. So the Cameron Tringali, his form hasn't been very, very good either. So I was really kind of surprised by him. I started off the day 2-1 in 3 ball. I hit Rom plus 160 over Scheffler and whoever else was in that pairing. Also hit Sam Burns in his pairing. So it's been a solid start. I took the first round pretty easy because, you never really want to go hard. And I kind of took it easy on the first round leaders here because, there's a lot of half the field you're not really so much familiar with, because there are a lot of Euro guys, a lot of Scottish guys and stuff. And we hit the first round leader last week, JT Poston 60-1. So back to back would be kind of tough. So kind of took it easy for the first round leaders. I didn't play any outrights because I thought we'd probably get better value during the tournament. And there's one thing for sure, like, if you're taking Cameron Tringali plus 450 to win right now live after the first round, you have to be absolutely sick in the head because, I would never touch those odds. It's a crazy leaderboard, Cameron Tringali and Gary Woodland. 2 guys who have not been playing, very well as of late, but, they're right up there. But as we know, these tournaments are very long. And even a 5-shot lead on the final day is really meaningless these days, as we saw with like Vito Pereira. So I'm just looking forward to see what guys do, how they maybe come back yesterday. Like, Xander Schauffele, I think he's 1 over right now. How is he going to come back tomorrow? He's still finishing today's round, but I'm just looking, a lot of guys want to see some momentum going into next week. And we're in for a very long weekend here, especially with the weather. So, we'll just have to see what happens.
I had Dubs Anderson on yesterday afternoon, and usually for myself, I'm very tentative a week before a major and a week after a major, but I do believe in the momentum. What the hard part is, and you've talked about this at length when you've come on with us, staying away from the or not putting as much emphasis on the pre-flop outright winners. I love your strategy on the first round leaders, on your 3 balls and stuff like that. And what makes it hard this weekend, you talked about Xander. Let's just say he finishes the round +1. Does he go out and really grind it out and get that -4, -5 tomorrow to make the cut? Or at one point, does he wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I'm just going to use tomorrow as a practice round and get my ass over and get myself ready for the major? Do you find yourself like tonight when you're looking at the second round, having a tough time evaluating that?
Yeah, I don't think a guy like Xander, I don't think that's really his MO. I really don't think, a lot of guys, if they're it's one thing if they shoot 7 over for the first round, 5 over. And it's like you're there after the first round and you're like, well, the leader's at 9 under. I'm probably not going to make the cut. So tomorrow I'm just going to come out and work on some stuff. Whereas like a Xander, if he's even, say 1 over par, he's going to probably want to come out and see how he plays. Can he play the first 8 holes, 3 under par, and then take it from there? I don't think you just see a guy come out right off the bat and be like, you know what, I'm 1 over par. Let's just use this as a practice round. I don't really care how I finish. I think that, they would likely see how they started and then like determine with like 9 holes left, like what are we gonna do here? Maybe work on some stuff. Just don't make the cut. But these guys are such competitors where I don't really think ever going into a round, like I said, unless they shot like at 80 in the first round, I don't think they're ever going to give up on the second round and just give in. Because you always want to be playing your best golf going into a major, especially. And Xander has been playing his best golf, so it's hard for me to just see a guy like that just basically throwing the towel in after, say, he shot even par today. Where I could see a guy like Brooks Koepka, for example, if he shot 8 over in the first round, just saying, you know what, we'll just use tomorrow to practice and we'll just see what happens. Or a guy like Rory, these guys are such competitors, and there's money on the line too. They want to win money. They don't, if they're not finishing in the top, they're not making the cut and stuff, they're not getting paid. Also, their caddy's not making any money that weekend, so also their caddies don't want them to give up also because they want to make money too. So I just think these guys are just too competitive to just give up. And like I said, we've seen leads evaporate so quick. And I could easily see Cameron Tringale shooting a 74 tomorrow, 73, and coming back to the field, and people catching him. So I think it's just too early for guys to just throw in the towel.
Yeah, you don't see many box to wires like JT did last week. JT Postman, not Justin Thomas.
Yeah.
Before we transition here, you talk about 3 balls a lot, and not a lot of people are informed with the 3 ball matches. You're going against 2 others, and they're obviously very comparable. They're not putting a Rahm with 2 stiffs. They're making it a Rahm with a Xander with a Cam Smith or something like that. So going into tonight, before you release your second round cards, we'll talk about Xander. Do you take a look at a person that you expect to bounce back into that going into your 3 balls?
Yeah, well, the 3 balls, I mean, obviously I always prefer matchups over 3 balls because matchups, you just have to deal with one. You're just going against one guy, right? But the problem with matchups is like, for me, doing golf packages to clients and stuff, I have to give matchups like, the matchups I give out, most people have to have them. The problem for matchups for rounds 1 and 2 on most sites, all sites have different matchups, right? 3 sites might have the same matchups, and 4 sites might have different matchups. So for 3 ball, it's just guys in the pairing, right? So there's 3 guys in the pairing. Say today it was Rahm, Scheffler, and let's see, it was Rahm, Scheffler, and Victor Hovland today, right? They were all 3 playing together. So the 3 ball is just whoever is playing together in that pairing, and obviously, Rahm versus Scotty Scheffler one-on-one, Rahm would probably be like minus 105, minus 110. But you throw in Victor Hovland and Rahm becomes plus 155. And I like that because like Victor Hovland has been playing terribly lately.
Did he get his clubs, Rob? Did they finally get his clubs?
I'm not sure. It did. I think he shot a 4 or 5 over, so maybe not. So you got like a Victor Hovland, and you got Scotty Scheffler, who hasn't played much in Scotland. He's not really that familiar with playing internationally. Whereas Jon Rahm's experience playing overseas, I kind of favored Jon Rahm. So he won that by like 4 or 5 strokes, that 3 ball. And then you get a guy like, we got Padraig Harrington. I got him plus 230 versus Jason Kokrak and Ricky Fowler, right? And he's plus 230 just because he's a little bit older than them, right? Mm-hmm. Jason Kokrak hasn't been playing very well. And going to Scotland in those windy conditions, that's certainly not going to like help your game. And Ricky Fowler, we all know Ricky struggles lately. So Padraig Harrington, he's played very well at this course. His course history is great. And he was plus 230. He was the 3rd ranked golfer in that threesome. So easy decision for me right there. It's going on right now, but it looks pretty good. But yeah, I prefer 3 ball just because, say the pairing was Jon Rahm, Gary Woodland, and say Tommy Fleetwood, right? Jon Rahm, if it was Rahm versus Fleetwood, Rahm's going to be like minus 160, minus 170, The 3 ball, you're going to get a little better odds. You're not really drinking the juice, as they say. So For the first 2 rounds, I play 3 ball just because it's widely available mostly, and the matchups aren't really widely available. And for me, I have to go with the consensus for what's widely available. So 3 ball it is for the first 2 rounds, and then we go with it from there. But the weekend, most tournaments on days 3 and 4, they play in twosomes, unless they have like weather concerns. They'll put guys in threesomes, but I prefer twosomes. But I'm just used to playing threesomes for the first 2 rounds right now.
Yeah, nothing worse than doing, a week's worth of work and then you send out, matchups. And like you said, that makes it the hardest is the fact that every person's book is different. So if you use a DraftKings, you're using their matchups. Well, I can't get DraftKings. My guy doesn't. My guy, and you're answering the questions where you're putting together, let's just say a Rahm versus Schauffele. And next thing you know, he goes, well, I don't have Rahm Schauffele. I got Rahm versus Rory. And then you got to make the decision.
Yeah. What would you do? Would you bet Rahm versus Rory? Like, this is the stuff they ask. So I've been doing this for so long. I just anticipate that. And I just go, I use the sites for the golf odds and I just see what site, data golf. I go see what sites have the same matchups, like if 5 out of the 7 sites I'm looking at have the same matchups, I'll go with it. And then I'll list like, listen, you can find this matchup at this book, and this book, and this book. That way, like it doesn't give a person an excuse to say, oh, I can't play it. Well, it's available at this book, so you can go play it there. But as long as it's widely available, I'll give it out. But if it's not, I won't, because like you said, I don't want to get those questions where it's like, say I give out like a top 20 bet on John Rahm, max play, right? I don't want someone to come back and say, hey, my book only has top 10s. Would you bet this for max play for top 10? It's a completely different play, completely different handicap, So like I said, I just 3 balls widely available. So that's why I go with those.
Got about 10 days before the All-Star break, give or take, actually. I think the All-Star break's on Tuesday, the 19th. Monday will be the Home Run Derby. Wednesday will be dark. I think Thursday there's a handful of games, and then we get back into action on that Friday. What are you seeing going into the stretch here to the All-Star break? Anything? I know it's early in the morning. There's a handful of games out there today. Anything catching your eye? Any tips that you can give the novice on that wants to get into baseball for the next 2 weeks before the break?
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like the Yankees right now? They just seem to be a machine, especially when they start their entire lineup. You've got 2 grand slams last night. Josh Van Meter came in the 8th inning to a little position player pitching, and I think he gave up like 8 runs. His ERA was like 43 last night for like 2/3 of an inning. Aaron Hicks hit a grand slam, and Judge hit his 30th home run last night, a grand slam. Aaron Hicks' grand slam was even crazier because it's like if you watch the at bat, he thought Van Meter was going to have a little more, mustard on his pitch. And it came in like such a meatball, like Aaron, like he like got ready to swing and it was just, the ball wasn't there yet. So he like cocked back again and just softball swung it out of the park for a grand slam. Then Stanton followed that with a home run, and the Pirates broadcasters were like, this is ridiculous. They were getting mad at the Yankees for just, teeing off on him. But what are you going to do? You're not going to hit a home run if you've got the opportunity. So was Dave at the game, actually? I saw some pictures of him.
Dave, MLB flew Dave in, and him, Brad Howe, and I think it was a female from Atlanta who does the NBA. They did a pilot the day before, and they actually did a live sports betting broadcast show for the Pirates, and then basically getting sent to the commissioner's office because there's 10 teams ready and willing that want to do maybe a once a month or once a week actually betting. So they start the day with an hour and a half rain delay, and they end up with a 16-0 game. But as he said, there was action all the way up to the last out versus a game that was a blowout at 16-0.
Yeah, lots of Yankees fans there too. last night I saw. But yeah, it was you got a lot of runs. You can't really, when you're going to a baseball game, all fans want to see runs. So when you get 16 runs, you can't really ask for much more. But he might be the Pirates mush. If I'm a Pirates fan, he might be the mush. But he's going big time on us now. He's getting too famous, signing autographs and stuff. So if he finds time for you in Vegas in between his autograph sessions, maybe you can meet up with him.
Well, the funny thing is, I got the call at around 8:30 this morning. We talked for about a half hour. He sounded beat, and that's exactly what I said. I says, Mr. Big Time. I was like, do I have to now call your secretary, or do I have the name yet for your agent?
Yeah.
And we got some people watching this morning. We got TJ. Good morning, TJ. Good morning, Cole. And then I guess my question to you you talked about the Yankees, you talk about the Mets. Our buddy at SoCal DGen has posted that the Mets were 20-0 after a loss with the run line. And Cole's talking about run lines. Are they dead? Yet here come the Mets down 3-2 in the ninth. They tie it, and then they put up, I think, a 5 spot.
Yeah.
And they cover the run line to boot. You talk about the Yankees. They're just putting up touchdowns. I guess the question from Cole, and I want to ask you this is, juice is only juice if we lose.
Mm-hmm.
You get the big time favorites. Today, for instance, Cole and the Yankees coming into Boston. I don't want to say it's a big series for the Red Sox.
Minus 170.
Yeah, and the Red Sox just lost 2 out of 3 to Tampa. They were leading the wild card. Now I think they're tied with Tampa. Someone like yourself, take a look at a rookie picture. Wignoski, I think his name is. And you look at Cole and you look at the run line right away, and you're not afraid of the juice.
Yeah, on a game like this, I mean, especially since the Yankees are the road team, I wouldn't be afraid of the run line. Even the money line's not too bad. I mean, I might take a look at like make my own -1 line for like a -120. I just think the Red Sox have been struggling offensively. It's either feast or famine with the Red Sox offensively, right? And their pitching has just not been very, very good. They've been very streaky this year. So I'm not really a fan of the Red Sox in this spot, whereas the Yankees are coming off, 16 runs last night, so their bats are hot. They're coming in with a fresh Garrett Cole. His last few starts, Garrett Cole has been lights out, You don't hear anybody making spider tack jokes about him the last few months. He's been lights out. It's a good spot for the Yankees. So yeah, I wouldn't be afraid to lay, 1.5 in this spot. Because usually when the Yankees win, they're plowing teams. I think last year they scored 10 runs or more 6 times. This year they've already done it 10 times. So this team, I mean, we're seeing one of the most talented lineups we've ever seen, really. One of the most powerful lineups we've ever seen. Who would have thought Matt Carpenter would have came in and just, been lighting it up, home runs, just having a rebirth, playing very well. They've got so many bats. Whereas the Red Sox, like I said, they're very streaky this year. Winkowski, I mean, you're going up against that lineup today. So he's going to be in trouble. And the Yankees, I feel like they got a lot of, even though they played the full game last night with the rain delay and stuff, I think they were like able to rest a little more. And the game was a lot easier for them. The outfielders, the Pirates only had 4 hits. So guys didn't have to work too hard. I think they're fresh coming into this game, and we all know that's a great rivalry. So I do like the minus. I prefer -1 if you can get it. Maybe minus. I might take a look at the over in that game because Garrett Cole has been susceptible to some early runs. First inning, give up a couple runs. He's been giving up cheap home runs early. So I could see Garrett Cole giving up, maybe 2 cheap runs in like the first or second inning. But I think the Yankees bats just have too much. And I do think they'll beat the Red Sox tonight. But, it's just one game. And the last 2 nights of baseball have been, pretty poor. A couple crappy beats. So I've been liking betting the Yankees obviously lately. Like last night was a no brainer, -1.5. But it just seemed like too easy where I didn't give it out to my clients. But I've been playing the Phillies a little bit lately. They kind of let me down last night, but they totally outmatched the Nationals, and they're -182 on the money line tonight. So Philly. I've been playing Philly, but it's almost like Philly's depending too much on Kyle Schwarber right now. Like Kyle Schwarber is their entire team. 2 runs last night. Kyle Schwarber scores them both. Both solo home runs. So guys can't even get on base. Nick Castellanos is like a total hack this year. Even JT Realmuto not playing very well. So I like playing the Phillies, but like I said, they're just basically depending on Schwarber too much right now. How long is Schwarber going to stay hot for? Also the Orioles have been playing a lot better. Tonight they're running into the Angels at home. There's a lot of good matchups tonight. I'd probably, I kind of like the Astros, the run line, but the run line's -170. You got Verlander versus Bubic, and Bubic's been pretty terrible this year. Verlander's been having a great season. I think he's taken like 2 games very deep for no hitters. So I do like the Astros in that spot on the run line, but like I said, -170. You're playing a big, big favorite there. So maybe to bring it down or something, you want to parlay that with like, say the Phillies money line -180, something like that. But yeah, baseball has been exciting, and I'm looking forward to the home run derby at the All-Star game, and I'm looking forward to getting into the second half of baseball because that means football is even closer. And baseball is like we know it's just a grind. Been going good for like 2.5 months. Baseball just had back-to-back losing nights, so I'm ready for a big night tonight. But it's been exciting, this season since they got rid of since they brought back the juiced balls. It's been a lot more exciting, So
If I was to say to you, Houston Astros, AL champs, World Series champs, Alvarez, MVP. Alvarez catches Judge +800 to win the home run title. You would call me what?
To win the home run title, I don't really see that happening because Aaron Judge has just been, on a total like destruction mission. What's he got right now? Let's see. Aaron Judge has got 30 home runs.
30.
Alvarez has got 25, but unless Judge gets injured, I think the MVP is pretty much Judge's, unless he gets injured, something like that, and he has in the past, So if he gets injured, sure, Alvarez could catch him, but especially in that Yankee Stadium with that, the short left field, I don't really see a Judge getting caught right there for home run leader. And MVP, he's getting a lot more exposure in New York City than Alvarez in Houston. And, maybe some people still hold the Houston cheating scandal against them. So you look out for that in betting. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't fade Aaron Judge in the home run race right now, even for like a Schwarber, because Schwarber's going to go cold at some point. And cut Mike Trout, he's down at 23. He'll probably get injured again. So yeah, I don't really see anybody catching Judge in that home run race at all.
Behind you is a shirt. Commitment and love for the U. They are putting together a dream team college football I don't want to say scout and coaching staff. They just, I think it was earlier this week, got someone from Georgia to decommit and head over to the U. And that's just, it seems like a weekly occurrence. Give us the temperature, give us the feel for the U and what we might be able to expect. It's early, it's July, but what your thoughts are for this upcoming season?
Yeah, I'd say the temperature down here for Miami is pretty, pretty high right now. Though in South Florida, you get a lot of FSU fans and Florida fans also. It's kind of a mixture. But I'd say the atmosphere around Miami fans is pretty positive. You can't really have a better offseason than they've had. I mean, they're bringing in recruit after recruit, 5-star, 4 stars. They're flipping recruits all over the place. They're flipping people from Bama, from Georgia, like you said, from Florida. They've been pretty much decimating the Gators recruiting. And obviously, it's the coaching staff is great. I mean, like I said, they got Josh Gaddis, the offensive coordinator from Michigan. They got the Appalachian State offensive coordinator as quarterback coach now. They got the Ole Miss running backs coach from last year. They got they got Jason Taylor now, defensive line analyst. So Hall of Famers is an analyst because he just wants to coach down here for Miami. So I wasn't a big believer in Mario Cristobal as a coach. Obviously, as a recruiter, he's been great. As a coach, I think in the past, he's had a few failures, stuff like that. I don't really like his in the past. I don't really like his game plans where he plays games kind of close to the vest. He plays games low scoring, he's not taking a lot of chances. He'll punt it from the 35-yard line instead of kicking a long field goal. So I haven't liked how he's coached in the past, but with this recruiting class he's putting together, with this coaching staff he's bringing, it's really hard for me to doubt the guy. So I'll give him a chance this year. Hopefully he's more hands off this year and lets guys, throw the ball. And they've got a quarterback in Tyler Van Dyke, who I played golf with him 2 months ago. This kid's a total gamer. He broke, a lot of Trevor Lawrence's records last year for freshman records, for 300-yard games, 3 touchdown games. He beat Pitt at Pitt. He's going to be a first-round draft pick, top 20 draft pick, probably after this year. He's a veteran now, so I think that they couldn't be possibly in any better hands. So they've got all the pieces to have a good season this year. Maybe give a run at the ACC title. I think they have a better offense for sure than Clemson. We'll just have to see how much Clemson, drops off. Losing Venables. Can Clemson find a quarterback this year? But I think the Hurricanes definitely have a major chance at winning the ACC. But like I said, I'm not a Homer fan, so I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm not going to bet for them to win a title because I'm just, I'm not one that's going to drink the Kool-Aid. I'm going to let the Kool-Aid sit for a bit and just see what's happening. Whereas I just go bonkers like a normal fan. Yeah, we're going to the national championship this year. I'm more realistic.
Well, you gotta fill TJ in. TJ's a loyal fan, a watcher on our Discord channel, and he's asking a boatload of questions. And we already talked about some of them, but I want you to fill him in. He talked about the 2001 Canes. He wanted to know if you went to the U. He's basically give him your full resume about the U.
Yeah, so I grew up a Hurricanes fan from when I was, 5 years old on. My dad was a financial broker, and Dennis Erickson was one of his clients back in the early 90s. So when I was little, I was about 7, 8 years old. My dad came home with, Hurricane signed stuff from the team with Warren Sapp, Ray Lewis, and all that. And actually, it was when Warren Sapp was getting drafted, and I think there was it was 93. There was some smoking marijuana allegations and stuff like that. So the entire team had signed my football besides Warren Sapp, right? He just refused to sign it. So about a month later, I get a letter in the mail from the Hurricanes on, Hurricane stationery and stuff. Picture of Warren Sapp, autographed by Warren Sapp, and it says, sorry for not signing your football. Hopefully you accept this autograph, as a replacement, from Warren Sapp. And I never missed one game from 1992 on, 91 on maybe. I went to every single home game. And 2001, when we won the national championship, I was the number 1 recruit in the country for swimming. And I didn't go to Miami because they didn't have a men's swim team, right? Because of Title IX. I probably wouldn't have gone to Miami anyways, just because I'm not a big fan of Miami, the city, living there. And I wanted to go away for college. So I took a recruiting trip. I was supposed to take a recruiting trip to Southern California. and I had scheduled it a few months prior, and it just turned out it was on the final home game of the season against Virginia Tech, and we were playing. If we won the game, we were going to the Rose Bowl to play um, Nebraska, right? Obviously, we didn't know who we were going to play then, but and I was like, oh man, I got this recruiting trip scheduled, but I want to go to the game. This is like the one game you can't miss as a fan, right? You have a chance to go to the national championship. You just don't want to miss the game. So I actually called. This is back before they had social media and stuff, so it was a lot harder to get caught. Like you could lie back then and just get away with it because nobody could see where you were. So I actually emailed the Southern California coach, and I was like, hey, listen, I hate to do this, but I have some big tests coming up, some SAT prep stuff. I'm not really comfortable with missing it. I just want to set my recruiting trip a couple weeks later, and they were like, sure, that's fine. So I actually canceled my recruiting trip to Southern California to be able to go to the game, and we destroyed them. I think McGahee scored like 6 touchdowns, and it was a great time. But I've been a hardcore Hurricanes fan for my entire life. I used to be a crazy Hurricanes fan, going to all the away games, posting on their forums, all the time. Just like for me, when the Orange Bowl got knocked down, it kind of killed a part of my fandom. Where now as I'm not like life or death if they win or lose. It's like whatever. Where I used to be like, I would get mad. I would punch something if they would lose. Just crazy fan stuff where as a better now and stuff, I'm just, not one to just fall for those tricks. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the athletes, you're not playing the game, let them play, stuff like that. And I think it's harder for me to take it seriously, like the older I get, because you see like these kids are really just, when you're younger, you look up to these college football players, they're like, your heroes, when you're smaller. But the older you get, the older you get away from them, you kind of see like these are just younger guys. They're just kids, really. They're not pros. So, how mad can you get at the end of the day if they lose?
Rob, I know the golf packages have already come and gone. I got everyone on the bottom of the page here where to find you on Twitter at Beating the Bookie. As we close here, can you just tell everyone watching and listening where they can follow you, where they can get your information, your packages, and what you got going this weekend and moving forward to the All-Star break and beyond?
Yeah, my website's beatingthebookie.com. As you see, like right here, it's spelled with a no G. We've got pretty much every package right now. We've got golf, we've got soccer, we've got baseball. Soccer starting to pick back up. League play starts soon. We've got Champions League qualifiers going on right now. Soccer starting to pick back up. Obviously, golf, we have the British Open next week. We've got the Scottish Open going on right now. So it's a fun time. We've got football. Obviously, football's coming up like 50 days away, just about. So it's an exciting time, and this is the last, this is kind of like the last off, like six weeks we have that are kind of like relaxed and easy before we get into the football season, because football season is that's where we make our money. That's our busy season. So we're just kind of taking it easy, just going day by day with baseball, grinding it out. Baseball is a grind. It's been a great season for me outside of these last 2 days where I seemingly can't win a game, but it's been fun. It's been a grind, and you just got to keep pumping every single day. But yeah, beatingthebookie.com. You can see everything I do. You can follow me on Twitter, obviously. If you're obviously watching this, you probably already follow me on Twitter. But I'm looking forward to, doing more videos, more stuff like that with you, talking. I did a video this week where I was talking about NFL futures. I love the Buffalo Bills this year. So obviously, probably a lot of people do. But yeah, maybe we can come on and do an NFL futures talk.
Absolutely.
In the next few weeks, but I'm just looking forward to everything except the NBA.
I can't thank you obviously enough. I'll be in Vegas on Saturday. I'm going to try to connect with you to see if we can get a show on, before the start of the British Open, obviously. But yes, in the late end of July and August, would love to do some NFL props and some shows with you. One quick question from TJ, and we'll wrap it up. With the Panthers adding Baker Mayfield, he wants to know an opportunity for them to get a wild card spot.
No. I mean, look, the Panthers, I've heard talk, I think this is stupid, but I've heard talk yesterday about they're saying the job is still Sam Darnold's, and Baker has to prove himself in camp, stuff like that. I just don't think, even outside of Baker Mayfield, like there's just so many questions. Like I'm not a big fan of Matt Rule. The guy's a total hardo. He's a total like look at me guy. Like he's the guy that runs out of the tunnel sprinting full speed ahead of the team. Kind of reminds me of a PJ Fleck. And you've got Christian McCaffrey. Can he stay healthy this year? Probably not. He has proven he hasn't. Receivers, they've got some good receivers, Robbie Anderson and stuff, but can they stay healthy? I don't really see it this year from the Panthers. Can they protect Baker Mayfield? He's going to want to prove himself, obviously, this year. But first, he's got to win the starting job first of all, and we just got to see how he plays. Maybe Cleveland was just a bad spot for him. Maybe he does well in Carolina, but they've got to add some pieces that can help him do well. And I don't think their play calling has done quarterbacks any favors in the past. I'm just excited to see. I think week 1 they're playing the Browns, right, at Cleveland. So that'll be an interesting game, especially if Baker Mayfield's quarterback. And we'll likely see that Baker Mayfield versus Jacoby Brissett matchup that we've all been looking for.
And our close friend and buddy Kiefer adds Matt Corral will be starting by week 6. Go Ole Miss Rebels.
if his ankle holds up, but yeah, it's an interesting, there's always that one surprise team and stuff, but we've seen a lot from Baker Mayfield where you pretty much know what you're going to get. They've had all the talent in Cleveland. They've had all the talent, and to his credit, they did make the playoffs, but I mean, they've had such a better team than they've had such better pieces than they've played the past few years. So it's going to be tough. It's a little weird yesterday. I saw someone bet $10,000 on Baker Mayfield to be comeback player of the year, which I don't understand. He started 14 games last year for the Browns, right? Like, how are you if you played 14 games last year, how are you comeback player of the year, right? Like, I could see it with Deshaun Watson because he didn't play the entire season, or somebody who blew out their ACL in game 4, right? How are you like up for comeback player of the year when you played most of last season? I just don't understand that. But
that was free money, and they thanked him. They told him he can come back and do it again if he wants.
No, bet as much as you want. I'll take that bet, actually. If the guy's watching that, I'll give him like whatever he wants to bet. I mean, I'll take it. I'll give him whatever odds he wants. You just name them.
Rob at Beating the Bookie. Go find him if you're not following him. Please do. And again, thank you. We look forward to many, many more shows. We will break down some NFL futures in the upcoming weeks. We'll dive into some college futures. Love to talk about the U. As I told you behind the scenes, I was a diehard Nebraska fan, and you just put an ass whooping. I still got a mark on my butt from 2001. And you did it to me in the Irvin Fryer days as it was. But look forward to many, many more chats. And best of luck this weekend, Rob. Cash a lot of tickets, will you?
You too. Have fun in Vegas.
All right. I got you on speed dialing up there. You wait and see. So.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks to all the listeners and watchers. We'll be back at 4:30 for the closing bell. Enjoy your morning and your afternoon, and we will see you soon.